Okay folks, I cleaned up the rear axle, and as you can see, everything you do, if you don't get to it quick, it tries to rust. So we're going to clean it up a little more, clean the rust off of it. But what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start narrowing. I'm going to recheck all my measurements, but I'm thinking from flange to flange 34 inches is what I need. But it may change because I'm going to run through it one more time. But what we're going to do, instead of pulling them off the ends of the tube like I would absolutely prefer to do, I'm going to do it a little different way. And I've seen this done before, but I've never done it. This got plug welds. There's one there, there, and then there's two on each axle on the other side. And basically what they do is they press it in and then they plug weld it. But what our plans are is to, I'm probably going to go ahead and cut these off, the housing. And because when we're done, you know, we're going to cut back here and I'm going to probably machine them. Because as you can see, there's a lip here that's part of the cast for the rear, but the inside of the axle is actually, looks like it's turned down and tapered some on that end, so we'll do whatever we need to do there. That's not an issue. But what we're going to do to get them out, cut them plug welds, we're actually going to burn a hole clear through it and cut a circle and go a little bit bigger than where the weld's at. And you know, we'll get into the casing a little bit, which won't be an issue, and because all that will be welded back up. But we'll put a plate in there. I've got this jack, and this is actually a factory bottle jack out of a Range Rover, and it's nice and short, and I think I can get it in there. Now we'll take these caps off. We'll put a piece of plate here to keep it from you know, hurting anything. But I think that we're going to be able to jack these axles out. Actually, it's the right size, but we can probably jack these axles out while we heat this case up, and hopefully they'll come out. And they may or may not. We'll see what happens. But once we get them out, get them to size and everything we need, we'll actually heat it back up and then try to freeze our tube, get them in where we need them, and then let them cool off, and then we'll plug weld them back. And then we'll address the axles later. But we'll go ahead and get these cut off real quick, and then try to cut them plugs out. We're going to see how this works out. Okay folks, I'm going to go ahead and cut this end off first. And I use propane and oxygen. A lot of people don't like propane. They like to use acetylene, and I've always found that I've come out a lot cheaper with propane, and it still cuts good. So I'm going to cut this in real time. I'm not going to speed it up or anything, so you'll get an idea on you know, using propane of how quick you can do it. I think I'm going to stuff a rag up in this end so we don't get sparks and stuff in there. Definitely not my greatest cutting, but you get the idea. The propane works, and it looks like that tube is about a 3/8 thick, so it's not really stupid thick like some of them, but kind of thick. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other side cut, and we'll go from there. Ain't no turning back now, is there? But here comes the hard part. We're going to try to cut one of them plug welds out, that one right there. And I'm not sure how it's going to do. And I may be better off with the plasma cutter, but we're just going to try one with a torch real quick. If we can, you know, we need to go a little extra than what the hole is. That way we can make sure we get all the weld. And then we'll come in afterwards with a die grinder and try to clean it up just a little bit. And, you know, they're not going to be perfect, but when they get welded back, never know it anyway. So let's try that now. Okay, we're going to try the plasma. I don't know what they use to weld it, but it's cutting just like cast iron. And which I know the housing's cast, but I figured the weld would be steel and welded to the axle, but they may have used a different kind of rod. I don't know what it would have been, but that weld is cutting exactly like cast iron. So the plasma cutter, it shouldn't matter with it. So we'll see if that will do it. Alright, this is where you switch glasses. Definitely don't want to be wearing these using the plasma cutter. Especially these are bifocal. And I found these in a junk car, man, and I really like them. I didn't even know they sold them, but these work great. And they're actually 2.0, which I usually wear 1.5, but they work good. I might see if I can order some of them on eBay, but we're going to switch to our goggles. Because you will burn your eyes with a plasma. And I've burnt my eyes so many times, I almost hate to admit it, but I don't have any intentions of doing it again. I've seen a whole lot better, but I've seen a whole lot worse. All right, there's 4 plugs on this side. 2 here and 2 there, so 6 total. So they definitely didn't want it to move. And they're aggravating the cut, so I'm gonna cut the camera off and go ahead and get them burned out. You see what I'm doing anyway. Okay, we got one side out. Had some company show up, so there it is. And it looks like it's all just straight, but it's tapered here, so won't be a problem, I don't think. It's not looking bad anyway, so we're gonna try to get the other side out now, and we'll go from there. Alright, it's getting dark on me, but I did get the holes cut for the other side. I'm going to try to go ahead and get me a light out here and try to get it pressed out of there. Alright, definitely not the prettiest work I ever done, but we'll have to clean them holes up, but they're going to get welded up anyway, so not a problem. Should be good to go. I'm ready to clean the rear end up really good. We'll cut the axle tubes off where we need to, and then we'll get everything cleaned up and ready to go and press them back together. And then once that's done, we can do our plug welds back, and we'll be ready to we'll do the axles last, but at least we'll be able to have the rear end to be able to do our setup on our suspension and stuff in the back. So alright, I'll show you more. Okay folks, cleaned up the differential housing a little bit. I've got a plumb bob in it, and that's actually a plumb bob that was sent to me from Richard in Kentucky. First time I'm getting to use it, but what I'm trying to do is find out how far offset our pinion is from our rear end, because this thing ran the same size or same length axles and axle tubes. So that actually set the drive shaft off about, well, now I know, an inch from center, and I want to bring it back to center because my transmission's in center. I want to keep everything straight. So that's what we're doing now. Measured it out, figured out that we're exactly 1 inch over this way from this one compared to from there to there. So I want to accommodate that by going 1 inch shorter with this shaft and 1 inch longer with this one. And you know, we'll work that out with the axles when we're done, but definitely want to have it in the center. So that's what we're working on now. I'm going to get a length, and then we'll try to get the housings cut. I don't know if I'm going to get them in tonight or not, but we're going to go ahead and at least get them cut and start getting them cleaned up and stuff so we can be ready to put it back together. And like I said, once I get this back together, I can build my spring perches that I'm using and get them on the rear, and I'll show you how I'm going to build them. And I'm not going to weld them on, of course. I've got to get the U-bolts out of the 64 Chevrolet truck out front, and because I don't have any U-bolts that are big enough or long enough. And that way we can, you know, get our trailing arms on and go ahead and mount this rear. And like I said, I'm not going to weld it because we don't want to do anything with the pinion angle until we get ready to. Alright folks, it's late. I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to sneak these axles in there, or the axle tubes in there, and put them in the freezer. And that way tomorrow I can get this housing cleaned up and get it heated up, and then they'll be froze, and I should be able to just slip them in there. And I'll probably heat the whole housing. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, I got it where I needed it. Measured about 8 million times, you know, trying to make sure everything was right. And I've got it where I think I can clear my disc brakes, no problems on the rims. And anyway, so the rims, as you can see, they've got really no inset here, but they got an inset here, and I'm trying to keep all my disc brakes outboard of that, but still be wide enough to clear everything and go on. And of course, you know, I've got to have room for the for the trailing arms and all that. So anyway, all right, I will do another video probably tomorrow. But appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.